Welcome back to Pint Podcast, and today we are joined by Martin Carruthers, the current Ilkeston Town manager. So let's get on with the video. So thank you very much, first of all, Martin, for coming on the podcast. We'll start right at the very beginning of your career, if that's all right. So just having signed for Aston Villa, and then sort of getting that serious leg break, being told that you'll never play football again. How do you cope with that, and then going on to recover and playing over 500 games professionally?
Yeah, it was bizarre, really, because I had my heart set on playing for Nottingham Forest. Got released in the April. Had a trial at Bolton, Mansfield, and Scunthorpe. Got offered deals at Mansfield and Scunthorpe. Didn't get offered anything at Bolton, and then this Aston Villa thing came around. So, obviously, then to break my leg, sort of a trial game. And then I remember it like yesterday. I'm in the hospital, on the hospital bed. The doctor comes up and just puts the X-ray up and said, "That's your career over." That was it. I just remember just bursting into tears. I just didn't know what to do. And in fairness to Villa, the Dave Richardson and Bobby Downs, the youth team coach at the time, they didn't have to take me on, but they did. They still honoured the deal, and it was a tough first 6 months. Trying to get fit, seeing all the lads, out training. It was really difficult. And I remember when I did start playing again, and the physio at the time, Jim Walker, who was different class. He said, if I'm honest, I didn't think you'd ever play again. He said, some senior pros would never have recovered from this. I know technology's improved now, but just hard work, determination, bit of luck, and the rest is history.
Yeah. What age was you at, Martin? Because I imagine that must be terrifying for such a young lad to hear that. Like you say, you've got your heart's hopes and dreams set on becoming this professional athlete, and then being told that. How old was you at the time?
I was only 15. I was an August birthday. So I think it was around about. In fact, no, I broke my leg on the day my one of my younger brothers was born. May the 12th, 1988. Yeah, so I was 15, and and for the doctor to be so cold and calculated like that, it was horrific. So I remember going home and my mum just saying to me, "Don't worry, I'll get you a job at the casino." And I was like, "All right, it's all going to be good then. That's it. I'll be a croupier for the rest of my life." Yeah. It was. I can't thank Bobby Downs and Dave Richardson enough, because, like you say, it would quite easily have said, stay at home and then come back further down the line. But that rehab in the gym and building the strength up and being around the lads was so important.
Yeah. I would imagine it would make you sort of value your career even more, having had that horrific injury right at the start. Almost being thankful that you had the sort of will and determination to get back. And
obviously messing up the chance at Nottingham Forest and then getting another chance. Determined to prove Forest wrong, determined to prove the doctor wrong. I am going to make it. And it's for any injured player, they'll tell you that the loneliest times are in the gym on your own. But obviously, when you're a young lad who's never even experienced full-time football, it was horrific when you see the lads getting ready to go to the games. I was still going to the games, and the hardest thing for any footballer is, you train all week and then you've got no carrot at the end of it. So, but it was difficult. But I had a great support network, and it all worked out in the end.
Yeah,
pretty much word for word there. What you were just saying, Martin, is what Ben Thornley said, isn't it? Because I don't know if you remember, Ben Thornley was at Man United. Yeah. Obviously, he had horrific injury, ACL. Before, me and Josh have had an ACL, and we were only out of action for about 6 months. But back then, it was a bigger deal, wasn't it? And
it was. Yeah,
you described it much like you, just very lonely and draining. And let's make it a more positive then. So, coming out of that, did you immediately feel stronger then after your leg break? Was it a easy transition back into training and everything? Or?
No, it certainly wasn't. And I remember trying to get fit again. Miles behind everybody else in terms of fitness, and coming back into training and being a million miles off it. My touch, everything, serious lack of confidence. You know, the other lads were moaning at me. Obviously, if I was on their team, you know, I was seen as the weak link. Yeah. You know, the stick and the banter. And you know, I remember there came a point where I came very close to walking away. Training was just not going well. And I remember coming in after training one day and Bobby sat me down. He was like, "How do you feel?" I said, "I feel like crying." I just said, I've got no confidence. I don't think this is for me. I'm not fit. You know, I'm not playing well in games. And he was like, "Look, go home tonight, sleep on it, go back to your digs, come back in the morning." So I said, "Look, you know, I spoke to Dave. We'll give you 2 weeks off. You know, go away for 2 weeks. Go back to Nottingham. You know, see how you feel. If you want to call it a day, call it a day. If you want to come back, we'll give it another go." So I went back to my digs again that night, and I thought, if I go back to Nottingham now, I won't come back.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll give it another go. You know, I wanted this opportunity. I'll give it another go. And I remember we'd got to the semi-finals of a big competition, just one down from the FA Youth Cup. It was called the Southern Junior Floodlit Cup. And we got Brentford in the semi-finals. And I remember coming on sub, about 10 minutes to go, went into extra time. And I remember scoring this goal from about 35 yards, top corner, and everything just changed from then. I was a hero to the lads, got us through to the final. Confidence just went through there, and that was it. And that was a turning point. If I'd gone back to Nottingham, I would never have played football again. And I just by staying and then scoring that goal in the semi-final, getting us to the final, confidence just picked up and everything just went from there. Yeah,
probably like a mental thing as well, I guess, believing in your body again. And was that the moment when you scored that goal, you think, yeah, I'm the player, I'm still the player I could have become anyway? And that was the thing that gave you the lift and made you believe in yourself again, was it?
A massive lift. And then the great thing about football is that you'll always come back, crashing back down with a bump. So I can remember us going back on the coach that night to Birmingham. And I remember Bobby saying to all us, right, everyone's off tomorrow, apart from the subs. So next day, I remember next day, it was class, Bobby. And next day we went on a big cross-country run, had a good chat or whatever. You know, it was just saying, you know, this could be the turning point for you. So I'm absolutely delighted for you. You know, great confidence boost. You got to the final now. You've earned some respect from the players. He said, you know, use this now as your springboard. And, you know, I did.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really inspirational as well. I bet there's thousands of footballers who can relate to that, and probably a lot who are injured going through that time right now who could probably use those words of encouragement. And it'll
definitely.
That's great.
You know, it's the hardest thing in the world, but you know, you my driving force was the rejection from Forest, the coaches, the words from the doctor. You know, the lads bantering me in training, saying I was not good enough. You know, sometimes you know it's after. You know, you can either crumble or you can stand up and fight, and that's what I did.
Absolutely brilliant.
So then you moved out on loan to Hull, which we'll cover a little bit later. But you did sign for First Division side Stoke, who finished 10th. You featured quite heavily in that team. Was you surprised that Aston Villa let you go at the time, or well, you did move to Stoke? Was you surprised that you didn't get sort of more first team games at Aston Villa before going out to Stoke?
Yeah, I mean, I've spoke about this with friends and family in the past, and you know, if I had that opportunity again, you know, I would never have left. You know, who in the right mind now would turn down a 2-year deal at a Premier League club who just finished second and push Man United to the title? It was more stubbornness than anything, you know, and one that I regret to this day. You know, it was foolish, and all I wanted was a bit more money. And it was just, you know, Big Ron's arrogance, the way he dealt with me, that, you know, ultimately ended up signing for Stoke. And I still have my doubts about signing for Stoke. I mean, I remember obviously going into to see Big Ron and speaking about the contract details. And one of the other lads, Ian Olney, I didn't have an agent at the time. And I was like, well, he's offered me this. What do I ask for? He said, no, you don't ask for anything. Just say to him, make me a better offer. Right. So Big Ron, top manager, I'm like, he said, what do you want? I said, just make me a better offer. He was going, no, you need to tell me what you want. I was going, no, you need to make me a better offer. He was like, get out of my office. I was like, shit. Just go anywhere from Nottingham for that. What the fuck do I do now? Like, fucking hell. Great advice, that. Cheers, mate. So anyway, I've come out of the office. I've drove back to Notts, and anyways, he's phoned me up a couple of weeks later, said, we want you to sign, come back in for talks again. And in that time, I had a phone call from Lou Macari at Stoke. So I went over and met Stoke. They'd just been promoted to the Championship, showed me around the ground and stuff, and we had a good chat. Made me an offer. It was a what I thought at the time was a decent offer. Went away, to think about it. It was another 2 weeks down the line. Other clubs were ringing up, and I was just sort of playing it by ear. So anyway, I went back into Stoke to speak to him again. Look, we wanted to sign, so we agreed a deal. I was going on about signing, and Lou was like, "Have you seen the Neil Baldwin story, Nello?"
No,
you're not come across that. Well, Nello was the kit man, like a great guy to have around, and Lou used him really well. So anyway, he said, "Look, if you sign now," he says, "I'll pay for an holiday, for you and one of your mates." I was like, fucking hell. I'd not been away. I didn't have any fucking money then. I was fucking skinny. Fucking hell. I was like, "What, can I go anywhere?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Nello, take him to the estate agents or whatever." So walked up to the estate agents. So anyway, I fucking ended up getting a 1 week trip to Ibiza. So I've run one of my mates, my best mate. "Look, you fancy a free trip to Ibiza?" He's like, "Fucking hell, yeah, we'll have some of this." So he flies out to Ibiza. Anyway, I've rung over a couple of times, and my mum's like, "Fucking hell, there's all these clubs ringing for you, blah, blah, blah," whatever. And anyway, I'd signed the form for Stoke. It was obviously an illegal signing. So anyway, when I got back to the airport, a couple of mates had come to pick me up. They was like, "Oh, there's some guy fucking looking for you." I was like, "What the fuck's this?" And it was the chief scout from Stoke. Because I'd signed in June, I must have got back on like the 2nd of July. He was waiting at the airport for me to fucking sign this deal. So anyway, so I've signed it, gone back home, whatever. All these phone calls from all these football clubs. I'm thinking, "Oh, for fuck's sakes, what have I done?" And in hindsight, I would have got a bit more money at Villa, but I should have signed a 2-year deal at Villa. I could have gone out on loan to Stoke. He did like me, Big Ron. He gave me my debut. It was always good to me. But it was just his arrogance. And in my last talk with him, I knew I was never going to be at that age, a first team regular. But it was like, this is a good offer for a reserve team player. And I was just like, just come on the last game of the season, but yeah, that was. I look back now with regret on that. And you live and learn by your mistakes. But my ultimate plan was, I'd seen Andy Cole go to Bristol City. He was a Nottingham lad, smashed it in the Championship, got his move to Newcastle. I'm going to do that. That was my mindset. I'm going to go to Stoke and tear it up, get a big money move. But yeah, it never happened.
Takes some bollocks though to walk into Big Ron's office and go, "I want more money."
Make me an offer now.
Yeah,
Ron.
I would go, "Make me an offer, Ron."
You know what? And sometimes you cringe at some of the things you do. And I remember was playing Derby away in the FA Cup, and it was always superstitious in the FA Cup. And I remember we FA Cup 3rd round, Tottenham were a top club then. We went away at Tottenham. I was on the bench, ended up winning 1-0. So the league games, I was never in the squad or involved. But every FA Cup game, I was on the bench because he saw me as a lucky omen. So anyway, with Derby away at the baseball ground. Anyway, I'm subbing before the game. I was a little bit chirpy and cocky. I said, just letting you know, I'm just putting it out there that every time I played there, I've scored. So he's like, in front of all lads, he's like, right, I'm changing the team. We're going to start fucking Carruthers. He scored here every time, just having some banner or whatever. I remember getting on in that game. It was 4-3. Dwight York got a hat trick. It was, it was unbelievable. Yeah. But the lad said to me, you have to give him some to get his respect. Otherwise he'll walk all over you. So
yeah. So if you could have a minute back with your younger self, your advice wouldn't be tell him to make a better offer.
No. And again, in that era, the money the money was still good, in terms of what normal pay was. But, a lot of the senior players, they'd say to you, get as many moves as you can, get as many signing on fees as you can, move from club to club. That's how you make money. So that plant was seeded when I was 16.
Yeah.
So, I look back now and obviously it's not the greatest advice because, the more you stay at a club, you'll always get financially rewarded.
Yeah.
That's one thing I wanted to ask actually about agents. Do they have your best interests at all, or do they have their own? Because you see, like Paul Pogba's agent coming out saying he'll never play for United again. You know what I mean? Is that in the player's best interest, or is it just all for themselves, a bit greedy?
At the end of the day, you have agents who are friends with different chairmen, different football clubs. I don't know if you've seen the stuff about Mark Halsey and the referees now and things like that. And, with agents and the backhanders and, I'm going to make more money if you go here rather than there. So, I wouldn't say now, but, back in the day, there was some very unscrupulous, people out there just out to make money for themselves, not looking after the best interests of your career. And, unfortunately, in my case, I was given some bad advice.
Yeah.
I always think the best agents are the ones who you've never heard of. You shouldn't hear an agent. Your agent shouldn't be the star of a transfer. If a player wants to move or if a club wants to get rid, find them another club. But the news shouldn't be about the agent.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Agents have been massive for the game, and the players have certainly deserved more money when they sort of took a foothold into the game because clubs had all the power and they'd get you for as cheap as they can, and that's just business and economics, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So joining Peterborough followed, who was in the second division at the time, weren't they? And I think they got relegated that season. What was the feeling like around that team? Because you had some good players like Craig Ramage, Matthew Etherington, Aidy Boothroyd. Was it quite a low point for you, obviously playing in such high divisions and high hopes? What was that like?
Well, it was mad because, I'd left Villa out of contract. Obviously, I signed a 2-year deal at Stoke. I ended up being on a non-contract at Stoke for 2 years. Because I was under 24, I couldn't sign for another English club. I could have gone abroad. I did go and look at 2 or 3 clubs abroad, and it never happened. So, and I remember my last game for Stoke was away at Arsenal in the older League Cup or Carling Cup. I came on as a sub. I think we got beat 5-2. And I was just sort of getting back from injury and fitness. And they did offer me a 2-year deal, Stoke, and it wasn't bad. And I just wanted to, a few finer details to iron out. And it just wouldn't, they weren't budging. So then Barry Fry, he came in for me. So I met Baz, the character. So anyway, I signed for Baz. That one had to go to a tribunal. And it was funny because I'm driving down to Peterborough on the way. The day that I've signed, I've got the local radio station on, and all I can hear on the radio is that the assistant manager and first team coach have been sacked. I'm like, fucking hell, what the fuck's going on here? So I've got to the ground, training ground, all the players are there. I've walked in and they're like, fucking hell. So basically, your fucking money, you've got the fucking assistant manager and the first team coach sacked, and now we fucking got you. Who's going to take fucking So turned up, Bazzy's not even there. So we've got nobody there. So we just sat around. The Baz has turned up, filled everybody in, with what's going on. I remember he started talking about, we brought Carruthers in to score goals. We're not scoring goals. So anyway, he set up a training session. No goalkeeper. Said, we're not putting a goalkeeper in because I want to get your confidence up. So the session was you started on one end of the pitch, dribbled it up to Baz on the halfway line. He laid you in on goal. You'd go through and score. 10 10 shots in, nobody's fucking scored. He's fucking doing his note. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What have I done? What have I signed for? Really? They can't even fucking score with no goalkeeper in. So anyway, that finished, and that season, you know, and I know we were struggling, but around the Christmas period, we went on a really good run, and myself and Scotty out, and like I say, Matthew Everington, Andy Edwards, you know, we had some really, really good players. I remember over the Christmas period, we went away at Millwall on Boxing Day, and we won 2-1. And I remember I popped my shoulder, dislocated my shoulder, and so that set me back for like three or 4 weeks. And then both me and Scotty out and needed double hernia ops. So I remember us having those, and then in that time, we just ended up getting relegated. And I honestly believe if me and Scott Allen would have been fit, we would not have got relegated, and everything else would have changed. And like you say, when you're helpless, you know, and then obviously he wants you back in the team, trying to get fit to get back in the team and to save them. I mean, Scotty healed quicker than me, and but, you know, Baz was hammering me saying, "How come he's fucking fit and you're not?" I'm like, my body's different, Baz, you know. But we got back towards the end of the season, but it was too little, too late. But we did have a real good side. I remember one of my first game. I think it was about 3 or 4 games in, and we played Burnley, who were top of the league at the time, Adrian Heath, and
5-0.
Eh?
5-0?
No, it weren't 5-0. I think it was.
Beat Peterborough 5-0 around that time. I'm a Burnley fan, you see. So you said
no. Are you a Burnley fan?
Yeah.
No, and scored 2 anyway. We beat you 3-2, and I remember the following deadline day. It was like, stay by the phone. He said, we've accepted a bid from fucking Burnley. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know, happy days, you know, blah blah blah. Rung me back an hour later. He went, fucking Adrian Heath's gone as assistant manager at Everton. I was like, fucking hell. Yeah. And that was the end of that one.
Damn, that'd have been good. That'd have probably been, because around that time we just sold Kurt Nogan to Preston. That's right. And I bet, I think we ended up getting Paul Barnes. So it'd have probably, Barnes must have been second choice after you.
Well, I was probably second choice, isn't it?
I thought we were going to say we've got Steve Guinan in instead, and we've had him on.
Steve Guinan, bloody hell.
Yeah, we did get him in, didn't we?
We had Steve a couple of weeks ago on the pod. But yeah, what a story.
It's probably a good job he didn't go to Burnley, because he was absolute fuming about it.
He didn't give his time there.
Time that way.
Right.
Oh yeah. Like I say, I mean, I would have gone to Burnley in the shot. But there you go. Selfish Adrian Heath, you know, going to Everton. Why would he do that? Why?
We'll ask him when we get him on.
Yeah, ask him when you get him on. Yeah.
Is there? Because I'm always curious about that. It's intriguing to know sort of transfers that nearly happened. So you say one to Burnley. Is there any others throughout your career that nearly happened that didn't?
Jesus Christ! I mean, God, when I was at, could have gone to Port Vale. I know when I was at Stoke, West Ham were watching me. I mean, all this is hearsay and talks from agents. You know, when I was at Stoke, I could have signed for Fortuna and Sittard in Holland, and another one where I should have probably gone to help my development. I could have signed for Preston, Wigan, you know, Notts County. You know, there's loads and loads. But like I say, in football, it's just like, you know, being in the right place at the right time and everything happening. But yeah, I would have signed for Burnley in a shot. Yeah.
So you have played around the divisions. Do you notice the difference in quality when you're playing? Do you notice like it's quite a severe difference from Premier League to sort of First Division and Second Division and so on? Yeah,
I mean, you know, when I was at Villa, you know, you have this persona that you're a really, really good player, and you have that arrogance. And it wasn't until I went to Stoke that I realised that I wasn't as good as I thought I was. Because the better players you play with create more chances for you, you know, better communication. And, you know, at Villa, I might get, you know, even in the reserves, you know, you get 4 or 5 chances a game, you know, you might score 2. You know, whereas at Stoke, you might get 2 chances a game. If you don't score them, you're shafted. So again, it's that understanding, though, the players can see your runs quicker. They've got the better quality to thread you through on goal. And the lower you get, the harder it gets, unfortunately, because people don't see that picture quick enough. And like you say, any player who's playing at the top level, playing with a David Silva, or I still love Ozil, he'll look in the back of his head and still reverse pass it and put you in on goal. You know what I mean? These players are that good, and it's just something I didn't appreciate, at the time when I was younger.
Yeah. I think you see that quite a bit, don't you? See, like a player might have played in Premier League for 10 years, and then they'll go and think, I'll drop down a division, and you just see them sort of struggle, and they only tend to last a couple of years or so.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I always think that about...
It's really common.
Someone who gets like 25, 30 in like League One, for example, like, I don't know, Billy Sharp, maybe a bad example because he has played in the Prem, but I've always had the opinion that a player like that, if you stick him in a team that does create a load of chances when he was in his prime, he'd still bag. Like,
100%.
And I think it's a really good point Martin makes there. When you think, I'm not saying it's all the midfielders' fault as you get lower down, but they're the ones who create chances. Putting it away is a gift, isn't it? It's something you just know where the goal is. You know the dimensions of the net. You're not going to miss. You're not going to fail, really. If you've got that knack, you've got it whichever division.
No, like I said, I remember when I went to Peterborough. There was a lad there called Derek Payne. He was a lad, Cockney lad, great lad. He'd always played under Barry Fry at Barnet and stuff. And, he reminded me of a Gordon Cowans who was in training. He's one of them players you could never get near. However you wanted to smash him or get, and I'd say to him before training, mate, I'm going to get you today. And he'd just always find a little gap. And him, when I was having a good run at Peterborough, he'd be pointing me, telling me where to run, and he'd just put it on a plate for me.
Yeah.
The players like that are few and far, between. But like I say, that the top level, and you drop down, and you don't get those. You make those runs, and the passes half a second too late, it's getting cut out.
Yeah.
And they're the fine lines there. That's the difference between the top players and the not so top players.
Yeah.
I suppose on the flip side of that, then you see the players who rise up from conference, like your Jamie Vardy from wherever we're at to Fleetwood up into now being at Leicester. You sort of realise then how good them players must actually be to have sort of risen up through them divisions to still be performing sort of 5 divisions higher. So
yeah, it's mad. I mean, like you say, you'll see a lot of young players who end up drifting out of the game because at 2021, they're used to playing good football. They'll drop into lower league or to non-league. That football's gone, and they just can't find their feet. And it's sad because there's that many talented players who drift out of the game purely because the levels of football and the standard or the players around them are not on their wavelength. And it's not because they're bad players. It's because the other players, are not on their wavelength, and it doesn't happen for them, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think nowadays as well, especially in your sort of lower football leagues, your League One, your League Two, and even your Northern, your conference, those teams can't afford to take a chance, really, can they? The budgets are sort of that fine. And we were talking, I think it was Gareth Davis that we had on a couple of months back now, and he said he still sort of plays Sunday League, and he can see players now who are as good as some of the ones that they had at Chesterfield at the time, but the budgets are that fine and there's that much at risk. They just these teams can't afford to take
gambles. And like I say, I know myself, looking at from a non-league perspective, there are a load of gems out there, but manager at the start of the season, he's got his budget. If his budget's done and tied up, then you get a couple of injuries. You've got to get some players on loan, then you're going over budget, then you're getting grief from the chairman. You have to get it right. And unfortunately, we know in football, you don't get time. But apart from the main man Dyche at Burnley, who's done an unbelievable job.
Yeah.
But the few and far between. And if you make a mistake with a couple of signings, you're out the door. You're sacked. Your job's over. So it's really difficult. You fine lines. You pressure from the fans, pressure from the chairman. It's a tough job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you've seen loads of these as well. So I've been to a Jimmy Bullard stand-up night, and
Jimmy, different class. Yeah.
He were telling me about all the sort of pranks that he used to play with, like Razor Ruddock and a couple others, and we had Warren Barton on as well. And he was saying he used to do the same with the Crazy Gang when he were at Wimbledon. What's the sort of craziest pranks that you've seen in football as well? I'm sure there's been.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah, there's been loads of pranks. I mean, I'm just thinking about one of me at Peterborough, and I just bought a brand new Escort convertible. And we're going back some years now, yeah. Bright blue it was. Anyway, I've turned up in the car park, hood down, lovely sunny day, yeah. Come back after training, it's just overflowing with fucking leaves. Who was it? And at the time, I lost the fucking plot. Absolute gone. The brand new fucking car, it just fucking leaves just all out of it. The lads are fucking absolutely fucking crying. So I'm trying to think who it was. I can't remember, but fucking, if I'd have caught them at that time, they would have been, yeah. You look back at it, it's great banter. And another one from Peterborough, there's a lad called Darren Roberts. I think he's in Australia now or New Zealand. We had a driving school together. Anyway, I fucking cut his socks up fucking one day. Just silly little games, you cut the ends out of the socks, you put the fucking sock on, the foot goes childish, but it's funny at the time. So anyway, driving up and down it, about fucking 4 weeks fucking later, we're in my car or whatever. Fuck is that smell? I was driving. Every time I'm driving, I can smell fucking fish. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So anyway, fucking one day it was horrendous. I see some fucking smoke coming out of the fucking engine. I've lifted it up. The fucking Daz Roberts had put this big fuck off fish and the fucking battery. Right? It'd been there for about 4 weeks. There was all fucking maggots coming out of it. Oh God. Absolutely horrific. And every time I speak to him, every now and again on social media, it always reminds me about it. It's like just crazy little pranks like that.
Yeah.
Are we never coming up to you going, is car all right? Is car all right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They go, no. They go, yeah, there fucking is. I'm like, fucking hell, they could have fucking blew me engine off.
I mean, that's a patient prank, that, isn't it? That's
that
what
is
you're doing. Not going to read that.
But it weren't. No, I just opened my bonnet, just saw these big fucking eyes staring at me. I was like, but it was just the smell, and obviously sometimes they was in the car and they're fucking crying because I'm going, what the fuck is this smell? they knew, mate, and they couldn't play. And then Aidy Boothroyd at Peterborough, and this is where I got the nickname fucking Gandhi from. Finished training one day and just got out of the showers. A white towel around me. It just had to start wearing glasses. It was only 26, so it was getting slaughtered off the lads. So fucking about, I put his fucking glasses on, trying to take the piss and get some banter. And he was like, "You look like Mahatma Gandhi." You fucking what? And I fucking hated it. And that has been my nickname for 23 years now. Gandhi. Everybody calls me Gandhi.
Love it.
I mean, that's what your Twitter is. So yeah, I did want to.
Yeah. Oh, Gandiman, yeah, Gandiman. That's it. Anybody calls me Martin now, I don't acknowledge it. I won't accept it.
So I was sending an invite for this out. I was like, Gandiman. What?
Yeah, Gandiman. That's it.
That weren't certain.
That's a true story. That. And when I left Peterborough for Darlington, I was like, right, fucking get rid of this fucking nickname now. I don't like it. As soon as I walked in the Darlington dressing room, all right, Gandhi. Boys have been straight on, and like you say now, everybody calls me Gandhi. Yeah, mad.
Aidy Boothroyd to thank for that.
Aidy Boothroyd to thank for that. Yeah.
Class. But so I did say that we'll touch on the sort of loan situations and whatnot. So you've been on loan 4 times, once with Hull, York, Southend, and Cambridge. What is that feeling like for a player going out on loan, and the sort of conversations you have with your club before you head out on loan?
Yeah, I mean, initially when I was at Villa, obviously I played in the reserves, and Big Ron pulled me up and he was like, look, a couple of these clubs want to take you on loan. It'd be a good experience for you, to get some first team football. I remember speaking to Hartlepool and Hull at the time. And Hartlepool were chucking goal bonus and this and that at me. And the reason I signed for Hull at the time, there was a lad who used to play for Villa, Dave Norton, and he was living in Nottingham at the time, and he was like, well, I drive from Nottingham to Hull every day. We'll get in the car school, and like you say, I went over to Hull, and to be honest, it was a fantastic 3 months. Came across Dean Windass. It was great to get in a bath with him and him having a shit in it, and you fucking running for your life. absolute madman. And another nickname I picked up there was Mad Dog. They sort of fitted me into their structure straight away. Took me on a couple of nights out, and at that time I was drinking. You probably don't know. You're probably too young. MD 2020. So that's all I would drink. So you know that, Luke.
I'm only
Mad. So that was it. My nickname at Hull City was Mad Dog.
I absolutely caned 2020 at uni.
Oh, it was class, wasn't it?
The orange one, orange juice, whatever it was. The bottle's weird.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, like £3 a bottle in Kirkstall just outside.
Oh, it's cheap as chips, weren't it?
And it battered you because it was basically it was like orange wine. It was
orange. Obviously grew up in a castle estate like me, didn't you? Brought up well.
From Burnley, so you should.
No.
Sorry, Luke.
We was talking about my loan moves, weren't we? So like you say, obviously I only went to get first team football and went back to Villa and Big Ron, and it was funny because I was speaking about Big Ron and his arrogance and stuff like that. So got back, I think it was in January, February or whatever, and I was training with the first team. And I don't know what I did. I thought I was training all right, and he stopped the fucking session. He was like, Carruthers, I'm not fucking having this. I was like, what's up, Gaffer? He went, fucking what's up? He said, fucking, just because you've been to fucking Scarborough for 3 months, don't think I'll fucking send you back there. And I was like, it was all Gaffer. He went, shut the fuck up. He knew exactly what it was, but it was his way of fucking sort of down a peg or two or whatever. But I had a great 3 months there, and scored some goals. And at the time, he had some good players. It was like Lee Jenkinson, Dean Windass, Gary Brown, Dave Norton, Russ Wilcox, Alan Fettis.
That's very good players. Yeah.
So last thing before we go on to a little quiz, if that's all right. So skipping ahead to now with Ilkeston, how was it going from playing and sort of getting out of being a player to then going into management? Is it something that you've always wanted to do, go into management, or did you pick up your badges as well along the way as being a footballer?
No, and I look back now and you cringe. I remember I was at Lincoln, and last season at Lincoln wasn't great, and the great man Keith Alexander, and I remember going in at, I knew I was going to get a new contract. I was 33. It was like, look, we really like you. You ever considered coaching? You're not going to get a deal, but would you consider coaching? I was like, no, I'm not fucking interested in that. No, I've got no interest in coaching. I didn't. But when I was at Lincoln, I don't know how it happened, but I was taking all the training and stuff. And the lads loved it. I was like, yeah, you should become a coach or whatever. And I was like, no. And inadvertently, Big Keith, I think, was trying to offer me the youth team job. And I look back now, I'm thinking, fuck, what an idiot. I could have got my foot straight into a youth team job, and then you're already on the pathway. So anyway, I left Lincoln and decided to go part-time, do a foundation degree, get a teaching qualification. But obviously, while I was doing my teaching qualification with foundation degree, I did my coaching badges as well. So then that was like, you know what? I want to get into football and coaching and management. And yeah, I absolutely love it to bits. It's totally different to playing. I remember when I did my first coaching badge, and you think it's easy to get up and talk and coach and see things. It was terrifying when you play the game for so long and you actually think, I can't coach. I don't know how to put a session on. It's bizarre. A lot of players who go into coaching, they do it for a couple of sessions, they don't know, can't do it. it's not for me. And it is difficult. It's stressful, but like you say, it's what I love and what I've always wanted to do.
Have you found that you've taken bits from all your other managers then, Martin? People always say that. I always wonder if there's any truth in it. Do you come in one day thinking, I remember Ron Atkinson being like this, or Keith Alexander?
Always take some of it's down to the man management. Obviously, times change. Some of it's sessions, but what you find is a lot of the top managers they don't coach. They've got a lot of good quality coaches, who do everything for them. They just have to manage the players, and in today's day and age, that's the hardest thing. Managing players, keeping them happy, keeping them on side. How are you going to get the best out of each individual? And that's a skill on its own. And like you say, I have total respect for all the managers, particularly the Premier League managers now, because when you've got multi-millionaire prima donnas, how do you manage them? How do you manage players who've got everything, who've got no worries? So it's a tough task. And like I say, with the media attention now, it's so hard. But I ended up getting my coaching badge as well. I was doing my teaching qualification and my degree, and then I just sort of fell into a team called Arnold Town. I only went there as a player. The manager walked away. I ended up getting the player manager role, and that was it. I've been stuck in there ever since.
How did you find it as a player manager for that brief period? Because we've actually had Robbie Simpson on recently, who's obviously a player manager at Chelmsford, and we had Mark Robertson on, who's a player at Burnley, and he played under Chris Waddle, who was player manager. And it's been very interesting to hear how that's gone. It's been difficult from what they've said. I'm wondering how that brief time there was for you as a player manager. What was that like?
Really difficult. I mean, after I left Arnold, I went to a team called Baseford Town and ended up being player manager there. And I think that the balance is always that player manager relationship. And as a player, I've always been one of the lads, great personality, bubbly, out for a drink, and it's then drawing that line. I've even had my brother play for me, and I've had to get rid of him. It's so hard, but that's football. See Nick laughing there. It's not nice when you go for Sunday dinner, mate, and you're getting grief off.
I've got to say, them conversations must be so weird.
Why are you not playing him?
I've got 3 brothers, so I'm just thinking, like, imagine that situation.
Oh God! Yeah. What more do you want me to say?
You can't play football. Get out.
And on the exterior, it's you have to put on a front. But I've had some of my best friends who I've had to, let go, and at the time they don't speak to you for a couple of months. But in time, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
You can't have room for sentiment in football. If I do, one, because you're my mate or you're my brother, people are saying you're only playing because you're a friend or family. So you tend to be an harder on people Yeah. But it is so difficult, and I say it's that boundaries, because I say when you're on the pitch, you're a player. That's what you take to players. When I'm on the pitch, I'm a player. When I'm on the sidelines, I'm a manager, and it's a different relationship. If you have to tell me to fuck off on the pitch, I won't take it inadvertently, because we're playing. Emotions are high.
Yeah.
As a manager standpoint, then there's a different borderline. But on the pitch, when I'm playing, it's players' rules. That's how it has to be.
That's what Chris Waddle's struggled.
That's what Robbie said when we were talking to him as well. He said he really struggled because he was sort of trying to do both. He was trying to be the manager, and then he was struggling in his position as well. So I think the only way to possibly do it is to do that, separate it, give it to your assistant, I imagine, while you're playing. And
that's what you have to do. So I used to say to my assistant, you do the team talks at half time. I'm a player. Just merge with me. If I see anything, I'll pass it on to you, and you relate to the players. And that's how it has to be, because you can't see the whole picture.
No.
Right, Josh, I'll let you go through your Pro 5 quiz.
Yeah, so every guest that we get on, we just do a little five question quiz about your career. So we'll start straight in. Number one.
It's all about me, by the way, yeah.
All about you, yeah.
I get these wrong.
Everybody does that. I think it's about you. So number one, you made 415 Football League appearances in your career, scoring 110 goals. For which club did you score the most goals?
League goals.
League goals, yeah.
Scunthorpe.
Is correct. Do you know how many? You don't. That's not. You've got the point. No.
I know I scored 147 goals in total. That's it. That's all I know.
You got 34 for Scunthorpe. The next two highest were 26 at Southend, 21 at Peterborough.
How was your time at Scunthorpe then, Martin? Because like you say, it looks like a successful goals to game ratio. They had a good time.
Yeah, no, it was a really successful period. You know, I think we got into the playoffs a couple of times. Good FA Cup run. I remember we got Leeds in the FA Cup third round one year, so it was really good times. Yeah, it was just only downside. We had a really good side. We had Peter Beagley in that side, Steve Torpey, the Odgers, Matt Sparrow, Alex Colbert Garcia, and we probably in that team. We should have got all the night.
Yeah,
a few seasons I was there.
Brilliant. So you received one red card in your career. Can you remember who it was against? Again, this is on league games, I believe.
League? No. The only red card I've ever had in my. I've never been sent off. No, I got sent off for Grantham Town if that's on the list, but no, never had a straight red.
There was a red card for Southend.
Oh no! Hold on. Let me tell you the story.
No, there is a backstory, but it's still a red card.
No, right. I'll tell you exactly what happened. Yeah, it was Barnet against Barnet.
Yeah.
I remember it like yesterday because it was someone on Twitter came up about it. So Greg Eald was at Barnet centre half. I was a teammate with him at Peterborough. It was obviously a big derby, and he scored an OG. And I remember running up to him and rubbing his head like that.
Oh,
right? So he's flipped. So it's turned into like a 22-man brawl. So anyway, he's got sent off. I've got sent off. I'm like, what? So I've got sent off for rubbing somebody's head. He's throwing his bombs everywhere. It's all kicked off in the tunnel into the dressing room. So anyway, we both got sent off. I've appealed it, and I actually got mine rescinded. So I'm not taking that on my record. He got turned from a red to a yellow.
Yeah. But you got Barnet anyway, so you got the point. But yes, officially in the record,
I'll take that. Yeah,
no red cards.
Yeah.
So most of your league goals came at Scunthorpe, as we've said. Who did your first Scunthorpe goal come against?
Carruthers United.
It did, and there's a bit of a story with that, isn't there? So was it 4 games you went without scoring?
4 games without scoring, yeah.
Did you feel a sense of pressure building there? New club, striker?
No. There was a sense of pressure because when I went there, and I was getting chances, but everything seemed to fall on my swing of my left foot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a massive relief for any striker, goal screen, confidence, and like I say, the first one's always the hardest to get because enough of your arse all you need. It takes it out, you know what I mean? So. Yeah, I remember that goal out at home, yeah.
And is it just like as soon as the ball hits net, like a weight off your shoulder?
Just the relief, teammates, the manager has brought you in, you're just buzzing for everybody. It's like, say, you can score goals, but it's just getting that one, getting it next.
Yeah, sort of monkey off your back, like they say, and then good to go. Okay, so from the research I did, you never scored a Football League hat-trick. But you went very close on multiple occasions. How many times did you score twice in a game? Was it 11, 14 or 17?
Oh, wow.
We put some research in on Pint. Don't let anyone tell you don't.
That's some tough research. And I'll tell you about an hat-trick that I got nicked off me, actually. Jesus Christ. I would say I've scored a lot of braces, so I'm going to go for 17.
It is 17, yeah. Was it I think some players. I know Cristiano Ronaldo's famously talked about at United. He only scored one hat-trick, and he must have scored. There were one season where he scored about 20 braces. So was it something you were bothered about, or was it just?
Oh, massively. You know, just in the youth teams and reserves. You know, he scored 4 or 5 in a game, and hat-tricks, and it was something that really ate away at me. Like you say, you know, the score 2 and then you get chances to get an hat-trick and you miss it, and it was just something that you just always thought would come. I remember Stoke v West Brom, 1994. It was live on TV. Anyway, I scored 2, and late on, goal man scrambled, and obviously I'm on the floor, towed it. It's going over the line, and Paul Pescalino's on the line and nicked it on the line. And I'm like, you've got to give me that goal. He was going, no, I'm having it. The goal bonus. I was going, no, I just want the fucking hat-trick, mate. Goal bonus. I just want the hat-trick. I want that fucking ball signed, and job done.
Absolutely. Pescalino, Derby legend.
Pescalino.
He's another striker, though, isn't it? I can't imagine strikers are going to give up goals too easily. No,
and like I say, the times I've had a brace, like I say, in reserve games, 3, 4, 5 goals, and it's something that I would have liked on my season. Yeah.
Well, it's not a bad goal scoring record anyway that you have got, to be fair.
If we ever get Pesky on, we'll make him.
Just let me know. Just tell him that it cost me my only hat trick.
We'll get on to previous goals as well. We'll get you that hat trick. Hashtag get Gandy's hat trick.
Get me that hat trick. Get me that. I want the match goal.
Right, I think you're 4 from 4. So question 5, and it's a management question. We've not had a manager on, so not had a chance to ask one. So you currently have the joint top scorer in the Northern Premier League Division 1 South East. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Leading your line in Alex Troke. How many goals has he scored this season?
Oh, league goals.
I believe so. If
I'm going to go 4.
Oh, it is league goals, yeah, because he's top scorer.
Is it league goals?
Yeah.
And I always have my strikes when I say to him, how many goals you got? I know, you should know. 12.
Oh, it's 8. It says it may be
8. Oh, that must be football as well.
He's got 8 league goals in 7 appearances, so he's not doing bad.
No, he's flying, to be fair.
Is he? So I wanted to touch on that as well. Have you got some rising stars? Do you think at Ilkeston, some who could go right?
Yeah. We've got some good young players. I mean, I've got a young lad. When I was at Basement United, we didn't sell him. He moved to Norwich on a 2.5-year deal, and then he obviously got released, and now he's come back to me, Cole Lambert. Zach Goodson, another goal scorer. We've got a right back, Joe Wilson. We've got an academy with around 23s and stuff. So there's 2 or 3 who some pro clubs are watching at the minute. So I think now, with the Jamie Vardy and obviously Che Adams, he went from Ilkeston. Yeah, it was a product of Ilkeston. So I think there's a big eye on non-league players out there that could make that step up. And I think now, like I say, with the money in the Premier League, they can afford to take chances now on some of the players.
I think that might be one thing that this whole COVID thing maybe brings, because the money is going to be even tighter. So I know we've said they can't afford to take a gamble, but they might have no other choice but to dip into the lower leagues where players are going to accept a lower contract because they're just desperate for that chance.
Less money, some might be no fee, and a lot less money. So I think it's a way forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think players do deserve a chance, because everyone we've spoke to who knows the lower leagues just says that, like you've said, there's so many gems out there that are just crying out for that opportunity. So.
I mean, there's that many players now coming through the academies. There's always going to be some that slip the net, the late developers, the ones that just shoot up. And like I say, a lot of it's done on the birth dates now. So because I'm an August birthday, clubs won't even look at me. Because like I say, they want I think it's the September to November, isn't it? The September to December that are the main pick, because they're develop quicker. So it's crazy.
It is mad. But that's amazing. Martin, Gandhi, you have been an absolute...
That's it, Gandhi. Do not call me Martin, no.
Gandhi, thank you so
That's
much for your time, mate. You've been absolutely amazing. And best of luck for you and for Ilkeston for the rest of the season.
Brilliant. Send me the link when it's done, yeah?
Will do, mate.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Cheers, mate. Gandiman, wasn't he an absolute legend? Absolute legend. Right, we're very sorry for the poor video quality, but if you'd have listened on Spotify, the audio would have been absolutely perfect. So let's start off with our score predictions, and starting with Burnley against West Ham. Luke, what did you make of that one?
We played absolutely terrible, really, in the game. Although saying that, we only lost because, I don't know if it was Ben Mee or Tarky. Either someone didn't shout, or I think Tarky didn't shout, so Ben Mee tried to get his head on it and took it away from Tarky. He would have cleared it. It was a game of no chances, but they took the one they had, so no complaints.
Cool. Man United, Liverpool, Josh.
It's a point I'd have snatched your hand off for before game. But when you have two best chances in the match, it's just a bit disappointing, which shows where United have come from. If you're disappointed with a draw at Anfield, but they're really in trouble. Obviously lost last night to Burnley. Amazing. I'm loving every second of it. But for a Liverpool fan, I'd really be regretting how hard they went last year on mugging everyone off and claiming they had best team in the world.
Right, lastly then, Derby Rotherham, and you could definitely tell that Derby had not played as a first team for a couple of weeks, not trained. And then we had one training session before the game, and the intensity was so slow. It was just a very poor performance. But then midweek we put it right against Bournemouth, and we looked like quite a dangerous team. That I think we've beat 3 out of the top 4 teams in Championship, so it shows where we can be. So. Yeah. Right, we'll get on to this weekend's predictions, and we'll start with QPR Derby. Luke, what do you think the score will be?
Ooh. QPR, aren't they? In fact, I think there'll be a draw, 1-1.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to say draw, but no, I think Rooney you'll take that win from midweek against Bournemouth and follow it up. I'll go 2-1 Derby.
Cool. And I'm going to go for 1-0. And then West Ham Burnley. Josh?
It's not West Ham Burnley.
I don't want to butt in, but can I just say, Nick, I just shit myself because I thought the back of your chair was some ghost woman stood behind you. Carry on, Josh.
What is this in the...
Sorry, you're
fucking hell.
You're absolutely right. It's not. That was last week's, and it's Fulham Burnley in the cup.
Fulham Burnley, right? Okay. FA Cup, yeah. Luke.
FA Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know because I think both teams will make changes. I'll go with a draw and someone winning on penalties.
Bore draw. I'm going to go for 1-0 Fulham. Oh, yeah. I'm going to go 1-0 Fulham. So you've got 1-1. And Luke?
Yeah, I think we'll go out. I think Dash don't give a toss about the cups in general. And I think he'll probably think, let Fulham tie themselves out. I bet he'd like to take it to extra time if Fulham think they'll put bigger names out maybe than we would and try and tie them. I won't be surprised if we leave a bit in on their players as well. That's genuinely what the type of tactics we'd do.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a negative. It's what a winning manager does. Yeah, I'll go 1-1, and then they'll beat us on penalties or extra time, one or other. Or 0-0. Weird scoring.
Not 2 games.
And then
not 2 games on trot.
Liverpool Man United twice in 2 weeks. Oh, fucking hell.
All right.
Just carry on.
He can't hear us, can he?
He's gone. He's back. Carry on, that's all.
Right.
Nick, yeah, go.
Liverpool Man United again. Back-to-back in weekends. I'm going to go for a Liverpool 2-0 win. What do you think, Luke?
I don't know. I think it'll be 0-0, and then it'll be penalties or something.
Josh?
I think there'll be a bit of rotation in both teams, which I think will probably suit Liverpool more than United, because their first team does look absolutely shot at the minute. I've got a feeling that we'll go out, and I'm not really too fussed. Full steam ahead, Premier League. Yeah, I think it'll be a draw and extra time or penalties or whatever it is. So I'll go 1-1.
So both think it's going to be a draw.
Yeah.
Right. So we've been Pint Podcast, and make sure that you're here with us next week for a very special story with Conor O'Keefe. We'll see you next week.
Ta-da.
Bye.
Bye.
Pie and a pint. Pie and a